Episode 4 of the Real Rugby Show. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, Matthew Rhodes. Good to see you again, bud.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys. Happy to be here.
Okay, URC round 5. South African teams did fairly well. We had 3 out of 4. Let's start with the Sharkies. What's your take on the Sharks game?
Yes, for a change, we're going to start with the Sharkies in a positive light. Last week it was diabolical, and this week is the total opposite. I think they played really, really well this week. It was exciting rugby. Good to see some of our boys back as well.
Yeah, how good was it to see us score the first try?
Mate,
first game back.
So good, so good. And just, there's something about Siya Kolisi. He is so wholesome. Everyone in South Africa absolutely loves him. I say everyone, there are some naysayers, but at the end of the day, for the vast majority, he is my captain.
Yeah.
And not sure what happened in France. It didn't work out for him. It should have worked out better. But he is definitely home, and he stamped his authority on the game by scoring the first try.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those guys that, like, when he talks about the people and the team playing for a cause bigger than the team, he doesn't just say it. It's not lip service. He truly, truly believes it. And I think he was homesick. His family didn't adjust. It's simple. It's just we fit in South Africa. We don't fit in Europe. And
it's tough, right? So I saw a few people getting interviewed after they went away, worked overseas, came back, and it's the same thing. You miss the same things you miss from home because they're not replicated there.
Yeah.
Dwayne Vermeulen was one of the ones I'm talking about here. He was asked, why did he come back? And he was like, well, because I couldn't braai and there was no brandewyn.
Exactly. Two good enough reasons.
Two very good reasons. It's a tough one. When you pick yourself up to go into a foreign land and you don't have family and friends around you, it's a big thing. And we know this because we've done this ourselves. We're living in the UK away from what we have grown up with and what we know. We're very lucky in the sense that we found our own tribe ourselves, amongst ourselves, and it makes the weeks easier because the weekends are braais and brandewyn and things. But to take yourself out of a country, go to another place for another job, and you've got kids and a wife, it's tough. It's tough, man. And so I'm very, very chuffed to see him back in South Africa, back in his homeland, loving it and scoring tries.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Glasgow, to their credit, they're a bloody decent side.
Yeah.
They did well to come back, score the bonus point. They got 2 bonus points from the game, but the Sharkies did enough to win. All 3 tries scored by Springboks.
Yep.
That just shows the impact, right? You wanted to talk about the impact the Bokke had.
And again, you've just hit the nail on the head there. We didn't have them before, and we looked very inept. You talked about the lack of depth last week and the fact that we were found wanting as a team because of that. And I said to you at the time, not having the Springboks in the team, there is a succession planning, there is a grassroots system in place in South Africa, which means, it should mean at least, that there are fantastic rugby players nipping at the heels of those individuals who are holding Springbok jerseys, so that if they are not there for that weekend or however long, that there is someone who is good coming through the ranks. And clearly we were found out last week, and with our boys back in the team this week, we showed dominance, and the 3 Springboks scoring the tries is evident of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So great win for the Sharks. They're back into winning ways. Let's hope they can keep the momentum up.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see if Plumtree continues to pick the Springboks, because last year he was very prone to resting Eben, resting a lot of the top players. So hopefully, they get some game time after the November tours, and they finish strong.
Good to see the Hendricks boys playing together as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been like a dream come true.
Yeah.
All of those backyard rugby and moves that they pulled as kids, it's like now they can actually play together. That was awesome to see.
Yeah, exactly. And really lucky to see a very compact very competent team from 1 to 15 with a solid kicker.
Yeah, kicking again.
Kicking again.
Yeah. Now he's proven, Hendricks has proven that he's up to the task, right?
Yeah.
He's a very, very competent kicker.
So as a Sharks fan, I was very happy after this weekend, especially after the weekend last weekend where I was not so happy and quite disappointed.
Yeah.
So it's good to see us back to winning rugby.
Congrats, man. We're going to come to the bullshit that was the Bulls. But let's first talk about the other coastal side, Western Stormers. Great win against Munster. They've never beaten them in the URC. First time ever.
There was a lot of chat and a lot of talk about that before the game. Just as the kickoff was being taken, the commentators were talking at length about the fact that they hadn't overcome them before, and they managed to get the win over the line this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. No, a great win, and I think again, like the Sharks, they needed to bounce back, right? They had a poor showing last week, didn't pitch at all. Damien Willemse got criticised a lot last week. It was his, I think, first or second game back, and this week he proved all the naysayers wrong. Very
interesting that there was a lot of negative feedback about him after that game, and it looks as though he's taken that as fuel to his fire and really come through this week and try to prove any naysayers wrong. He had an outstanding game and really was the standout player of the game itself.
Yeah, I think so. If you look at the news reports, John Dobson raved about him. I only saw parts of the game, but again, Flyer's not his first choice.
Yeah.
But he's covering bloody well.
His distribution was good. He ran the line well. He was good at seeing where the opportunities were and the gaps were, putting people into space. I think he just looked composed and competent.
Yeah, and a great little drop to finish off today.
To finish the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, Damien's back, and he's going to give Rassie a lot of headaches.
Sure.
Like, what do you do with him now? Because you've got Villy at fullback, you've got Fussy at fullback. Now you've got Damien back. Damien can cover fly-off suddenly. We know he can cover inside centres. But Sasha can also play fly-off and inside centre. So what do you do, man? It's tough. That's a tough one.
Tough gig. Tough for Rassie. Good luck to you. Make your choice.
Well, I mean, that's a problem you'd like to have.
100%. It's not a tough problem. It is a tough problem in the sense that you've got to go, but with one or the other in some degree or another. But at the end of the day, whoever you're picking is world class.
Yeah.
And everyone is vying for that shirt. So for me, it was just really, really good to see Damien bounce back from what was potentially a really negative week. And some people can take negative feedback and it sends them down a spiral. He didn't do that at all. Came up firing and he led the line fantastically well. Ruan Nel also played, I thought, exceptionally well. But not to take anything away from him, because again, I think he played outstandingly, but really, really nice for centres to be running onto the ball and putting it into space when your fly-off is distributing ball like David
makes it easy.
Yeah, it makes it easy. So, but I thought Ruan Nel's been playing well. He has been playing well for a fair few seasons. I like him as a ball player. I think he's a thinking man's rugby. You can see him in the way that he distributes balls, gets people into space. He's strong in the tackle. Reminds me of Conrad Smith a lot. And then his intercept reminded me of Jean de Villiers.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. It's so funny. We watched the highlights together, and literally before that snippet, you said, "Oh, I like him. He's an intelligent guy. Knows how to read the game." Next move is intercept. So no, well called. Great player. Who knows? Maybe we'll see him in the green and gold.
And I'd love to see him transition into the Springbok team. Really hard to break into that team.
I don't know where he's going to fit in, to be honest.
You know, he's such a... I think the grounding at sevens, because he comes from a sevens background, and that gives you such a great grounding into look for and manipulate space really well and find the way to put people into space, because you've got so much of it in the sevens rugby, which you can see that's how he thinks and that's how he's playing all the time. I'd love to see him going to the national level, but who does he bump out? It's
I don't know, because you've got Lucanio and you've got Jesse, and then you've got another guy who we're going to talk about when we get to the Bulls.
but like again, at either centre level, Damien, Jesse,
Yeah, no, he's
who
in
does he
trouble.
bump? He
I don't
doesn't.
know. He doesn't. And that's happened a lot with players over the years where you think, geez, this guy's a Springbok. And it's like, well, who does he lift? You can't lift any of those players.
It's unfortunate for him, I think, that he's playing in this particular time frame where he's great and could be or should be a Springbok in his own right.
Yeah.
There's just other better players playing at the same time
that's the reality.
who are first choice above him.
That's the reality. Okay, so that's the Sharks and the Stormers. Great wins for both teams. At
Coastal
home,
teams came home, overturned deficits last week, and they were on to winning rugby again.
And also against two good sides.
Really
Let's
good
just make sure that we call that out. Munster and Glasgow, proper sides.
Sure, yeah, 100%. Munster is no walkover. Glasgow played, you and I were saying before, really, really good rugby. They swing the ball around, they run hard. Two fantastic teams.
Yeah, it's because they're being coached by an ex-Bull, man. Franco Smith. There you go. That's why. Talking about the Bulls, I don't even know where to start. That was an upset. Losing against the Scarlets. I didn't call it. When I looked at the team, I thought, we probably didn't pick our best side, and this might bite us. But that's not the issue. The issue is 2 weeks in a row, I'm going to kick off with ammonia. 2 weeks in a row, the Bulls get a red card, which Jake White didn't believe was a red card. Mm-hmm. All of the Bulls fans didn't believe were red cards. And then 2 weeks in a row, the organisers of the URC overturn it. And they say, no, it wasn't a red. So, for me, there's an issue with the officiating in the URC, or just at least in the consistency. You know what, if the organisers came back and said, you know what, this is how we're officiating it, it's a clear red, we stick with the ref, fine, then we'll accept it. But the fact that they're overturning it and saying, no, the ref got it wrong, and now you've got a guy in the bin not able to play the last 20, makes a hell of an impact on the side.
It changes the complexion of the game 100%, but it feels like, and I don't want to say it is, but it feels like they're erring on the side of caution, but maybe too far. There's a fine line between being cautionary and trying to take care of players and players' welfare, not only for now, but in the future post-rugby, with the likes of concussion and concussion tests and you know what that means for when people stop playing rugby. But, you know, have they gone too far? Because you and I both watched highlights of the game together, and when it happened, it looked like a very similar tackle to another that we'd seen before. One was a yellow card, one was a red. And now, as you say, the red card has been rescinded and overturned. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that the Bulls player wasn't on the field.
Exactly.
For the next. So I don't know. I don't know whether you look at a different code. You've got league rugby. They put people in the bin for 10 minutes, but put them on report. And there could be sanctions thereafter after the game based on the severity. Maybe that's something that we should look at in rugby league. In rugby union, sorry. But you want to see a fair contest. You want to see 50 against 15. You want to see big, strong boykies running hard at each other. And sometimes someone who's 6'7" in the moment can't dip if someone is coming low, and maybe there's going to be a clash at shoulder level, right? But you know, the burden of responsibility falls on the defender, and I get that. You need to dip lower, but you know, it's a 50-50 sometimes, and I think there needs to be a little bit more. I want to say compassion, but all the people listening to this will say, well, the compassion should be on the side of the person that comes off second best in those moments. It's like, well, I don't think it's always that the individual making the tackle has intent or intentions, you know, to take that person out at a head level. But it's a weird one. It's a weird one for us to get around.
Yeah, but that's the thing that Jake moaned about as well. It's like, what's the intent right behind the play? If the intent was to be malicious and hurt a player, that's fine. Red card, no issue. But if it's just in the contact, in the heat of the moment, and you know what? It wasn't even direct contact to the head, in my opinion. He sort of slipped up into it. That was harsh. That was harsh. Anyway, I'm not going to complain about it. You know, Bulls lost by 1 point. We did see some good rugby from them in the first half. My man, Kanan Moody, that's for me the future at 13.
I'm so glad he's back. He's running hard.
Yeah, he's got confidence, and he just does things with confidence. And his confidence is back because when he played on the wing in the Rugby Champs, I thought, you know, so 6 out of 10. He did his job.
Yeah.
But now he's
at
flying.
Centre.
And
oh man,
what's interesting is Jake White gave him sort of freelance to
freedom of expression.
Yeah, but also
Go
he's
for
like,
it.
I want you to play the role that Villy's playing. Like you call the shots. You be the guy that makes the plays, and you direct play. And I think he did that brilliantly. That first try that he scored, he set it up. And then he finished. Great running off the ball. Thing of beauty. Whenever he touches the ball, I get
he started,
excited.
He set it up. They're running down the line. Good support play. And then your man just comes through on that line.
Yeah.
Like, picks up the ball at pace, dots under the poles. It's like, as you say, it's beautiful rugby.
Yeah. In saying that, I think the red card spoiled it for the Bulls, but they're a quality enough side they should have still won that game. So I'm not going to blame the ref. I'm not going to blame the red card. I'm saying it on camera categorically. I'm not blaming the ref. But I'm a little bit bitter about the fact that it was overturned. But, that's life, and the Bulls will learn, and hopefully after this tour it doesn't happen again. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think you'll see at the end of the season there'll be, the powers that be will come together to talk about, is this improving the game? Is it a benefit to the game? I think there are a lot of people that would say no. Right?
I tend to err on that side.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
A lot of people, I think, are asking for rugby to be rugby. Let players play. It's a contact sport. People are going to run into each other and smash each other. And those are the parts of the game that we like. There has to be a balance, though, because you've got to protect rugby players. This is a profession. This is what they do for a living. And you want to see that not only now, but after rugby, that the effects of what they do day to day aren't going to affect them and or their family.
Yeah.
So
no, fair point.
It's a hard one to manage in the moment, but I think it just needs to be refined continuously.
Mate, it depends on what the law is that they're changing or updating. Like when Richie McCaw played, we always moaned and said, all we want from the ref is consistency. If you blow us for it, blow him for it, right? Yeah. And that's all we're asking for. If that's the law, if that's the rule, fine, cool. But don't in the Glasgow Sharks game give a yellow card to a player who did exactly the same thing as Johan Grobler, but Grobler gets a red. I don't know if it's got, I said to you, the guy who he hit, I can't remember the player's name, but he was milking it. He pulled a Neymar and just, was like milking it. Oh, my nose is broken, whatever. If he hadn't have done that, then probably he would have come off with a red. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I'm going to park it there. The Bulls lost. I'm fine with it.
I'm just going to hang on to if he blows them, he blows us. Let's just keep it at that.
Yeah, true. Okay, let's end on a high note and talk about the Lions winning in Zebra. Look, crappy game in soaking, pouring rain. But they did it. They won 4 out of 4.
Mate, it reminded me a lot of the schoolboy rugby that I played. There'd be rain or you'd be in training. There's mud everywhere. It's coming down. You're having to swing the ball. It doesn't stick. But those games can be a lot of fun. That didn't look like it. That looked like a war of attrition. There weren't a lot of points scored. Guys trying to do things, and it's scrappy. And yet, I thought, once again, I've said his name often, I thought Sinele Lahamba played well and also kicked well.
Kicked bloody well.
Hard to kick in those conditions, and he kicked well. I keep thinking, because I really liked him when he played at the Sharks. He's gone to the Lions. Don't know where he's ending up next. I heard
he's going to the Stormers, but I don't know. It's unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed, but we'll see. I really like him for a 9-10 combination. Coming back, by the way, I thought on the Sharks game, Grant Williams played really, really well.
Yeah, he did.
When
he came on, yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing. Anyway, that 9 position we've talked about often in our previous shows. There's so much depth, there's so much happening. But he just is a utility, kicks well, plays well at 10, can do the 9 and the distribution really, really well. Like, he's an exciting player to have in your back pocket to send on, a bit like Damien Willemse, where it's like you can put him at multiple places. Grant also, he's like...
Can play wing, can play scrum off.
Yeah. Multifaceted. So Sanele Nhamba is very much like that for me, where... but in all that, he's taking ownership of that 10 role at the Lions. He's playing well.
Yeah, and great to see Edwil van der Merwe get on the score sheet again.
Again.
We spoke about him the other day and said we're keen to see him back in action. Just what a classy finisher.
Mate.
He's awesome.
His inside step.
Inside, outside.
He had a lot to do still. I know it was only about 5 yards out, but he had a lot of defenders coming through, stood them up, over the line, fair play.
Finished beautifully.
Yeah, he did.
And one of my hot takes is... the Lions are a legit threat now, right? People, I said it the other day, Ivan van Rooyen at the beginning of the season said, watch us, we're going to make the semis. He called it. He put his neck out there, and they're playing bloody good rugby. You know, that game against Zebra, that's one of those banana peels that you can slip on and easily lose. You know, trying conditions, away from home, difficult team that play negative rugby. You could easily lose that game, but they've shown that they've got the mettle to pull it through, and credit to them. 4 from 4, they're second on the log. They're looking good.
Winning teams have a way of winning ugly as well, right?
Exactly.
So you play sexy rugby, and you win playing the rugby that fans want to come and watch. But in trying conditions, which this weekend was, you need to grind those wins out. And I think the Lions are proving that, regardless of what the conditions are, we're going to adapt, and we're just going to see it through. And especially in pool play, or when you're getting through and trying to make points to get to a knockout stages, that's the stuff that gets you to the top of the table. And as you said, they're sitting in second.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you play ugly. As long as you get the win, you get the points, you get yourself to the dinner table when the time is right, and then you're there for the feast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So long may this continue for them. They're on a good hot streak. They've got some exciting players, and we look forward to seeing more and more wins from the Lions.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Cool. So that's the URC wrap-up for round 5. A couple of other players that we saw over the weekend that played well.
Cheers, by the way. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Don't let a moment.
Cheers to the
Cheers,
Lions.
cheers to the Boykies.
And to the Sharks and to the Stormers.
To the Lions, Sharks and Stormers. And we know that the Bulls will make a comeback.
And to Kane and Moody at least.
Kane and Moody, get in there.
Yeah. One thing, interestingly enough, Kane and Moody said he used to watch a tribute to Donnie Gerber when he was young, like over and over and over again, because he wanted to emulate.
I wonder where he got that from.
Yeah,
it is.
That's the one.
Get in there.
So I'd like to take just a smidgen of credit to say, you know what, I help inspire the young man. Obviously, talent is all his, and the hard work is all his, but hopefully we gave him some inspiration.
Well, hopefully Kanan is still watching the Real Rugby channel, and he sees this, and we salute him. We thought he played well this weekend.
Absolute ledge. Other players who played well in the URC and the Premiership, I didn't watch all the games, but a couple of them that I did see was R.G. Snyman scored a beaut for Leinster.
Yeah.
Ball spilt loose, picked it up with one hand, dotted it down, did the little Spider-Man ball stuck to the hand vibe. Great to see him score. And then another one was our other big hero and legend, Handré Pollard, scoring a great try for Leicester yesterday against Gloucester.
It was a tap. Yeah,
it's from a tap and go, but again, like Freddie Stewart last week, they did a bit of a move, but they did it the other way around.
Yeah.
So they tapped and then it went through the hands, and he saw the space and scored next to the post. And that try was right after half time. They were down 19-8. And that changed the game, and then they went on to win. So not just a good try, but a very important try that Handré Pollard scored. So well done, Polly. And the Leicester Tigers for continuing. We've got a soft spot for the Tigers now. They're
got a soft spot all around for all the Springboks doing well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice to see Arch here Andre Pollard and Sia Khaleesi all scoring on the weekend,
Yeah, lekker.
amongst others.
Yeah.
That are
Yeah, Fassi scored, Moody
Yeah.
scored, Van der Merwe scored, all the Springboks scored. So it's
Exactly.
good. The boys are in form,
the boys on fire.
which makes us hungry for the end of year tour. The BOK
Indeed.
team is being announced tomorrow, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
So next week we'll do a little bit of a discussion around who made it, who didn't make it, who's the lucky ones, who's the unlucky ones. Again, he's got a selection conundrum.
It's a tough gig.
because at the beginning of the year, Rassie blooded a whole bunch of players, brought them into the system, which is great. But now a whole bunch of players are coming back from injury. Franco Morsted's back. Damian Willems is back. There's a whole bunch of guys coming back into the fold now. So who do you pick and who do you leave at home? It's a really tough one.
It's a tough one, and in one sense you'd say wouldn't want to be Rassie, and on the other side you go would love to be
I'd
Rassie.
rather be Rassie
than anyone else is playing.
Razor Robertson.
Exactly. Needless to say, if I was wanting to be anyone right now, I'd rather be Rassie over Razor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking forward to that Springbok team announcement. We'll see what happens. End of year tour coming up.
Yes, there's 3 games going to be happening. There's the Springboks, the All Blacks, and the Aussies all travelling. They're all coming to
and the Argies.
and the Argies, all coming through to Twickenham.
Yeah.
And watch the space. We might likely be presenting from in and around or somewhere nearby.
No bullshit. You promised me tickets. That's there's no backing out now.
There's no
man.
backing out.
You've got to figure it out now.
Any corporate
Because
sponsors
we
out
are
there that
going.
want to send us some tickets, you go right ahead.
Yeah. Out of the 13 people that watch the channel,
Yeah.
I don't know if one of
14
them...
now.
Is it 14
Yeah.
now? Oh, we've got one more.
I believe my mum told someone else.
Okay, nice. She forwarded it the link. Brilliant. Okay. On that note, Matt, thanks. It's been awesome. We will catch up again next week.
Always a pleasure, my bud.
Yeah. For the folks out there in YouTube land, please press the subscribe button, press the little bell notification, share the videos. We'd like to create a little bit of a following. If you like this content and you enjoy what we're talking about and the highlights of the show, give us a follow, share it with your mates, and we'll check you again next week. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, y'all.
There we go.